Welcome to the File-AID Data Solutions Field Exits Global Fields module. Here you will learn how to use the global fields available to extend your processing capabilities. We begin by describing the global fields, which are simply storage areas. There is one area to store character data. There are 9 areas to store numeric data, and these may be used in calculations. There are global parameters which are used in conjunction with the global fields. Store saves into a storage area. Fetch retrieves from a storage area. Calc performs a calculation. Accum accumulates a field into a storage area. Init initializes a field or storage area. Add, subtract, multiply, divide operate on field or storage areas. And reset clears a storage area. Fields of a record are processed in order, therefore selection levels may be required. As an example, it may be necessary to get a value from field I on a first pass through a record. Then, on a second pass through the record, that value will be available to use with the value in field E. Let's have a look at some examples. For the first example, we will copy the first name into the last name. To illustrate a point, we will do this the wrong way. From the primary menu, we choose the Field Exits option. On the next panel, we specify the dataset name and the corresponding record layout information. No existing change criteria will be used. On the next panel, we see the Create New Criteria confirmation message. For the last name field, we request the fetch command from the character global field, and for the first name field, we request the store command to the character global field. With the parameters complete, we press F3 to continue. On the next panel, we confirm that one criteria set is in place and press Enter to continue. On the next panel, we choose the Update option and again press Enter to continue. On the next panel, we choose Online Processing and press Enter to execute the update. Viewing the results, we see that the last name field on the first record is empty. The last name field on the second record contains the first name from the first record. The last name field on the third record contains the first name from the second record, and so on. This is clearly incorrect. For the second example, we will do the same copy, but this time the right way. To begin, we store the first name, then use the Insert command to add a selection level, which is confirmed by the message shown and by the Set indicator. Now we fetch the last name from the character global field. Here we see the results, which are now correct. In the third example, we will use the Add and Multiply parameters. For this and the remaining examples, we will omit most of the intermediate panels. Here we are requesting to execute the Add operation for the Q1 sales field. The current value will be increased by 15, and the new value will replace the old value. Similarly, the Q2 sales field will be multiplied by 1.5 and again, the new value will replace the old value. Here we see the results, but we will review each field in detail. For the Q1 sales field, we see the original values on the left and the new values on the right. The addition attempted was 15, but the addition accomplished was 0.15, clearly incorrect. For the Q2 sales field, we see the original values on the left and the new values on the right. The multiplication attempted was 1.5, and the multiplication accomplished was 1.5. This is good. To correct the addition, we go back to the parameters and use 1500 instead of 15. Here we see the new results, which are now correct. As a follow-up, here are some notes on arithmetic operations. For add and subtract, the number specified must be an integer. Decimal places implied by any associated picture clause are ignored. For multiply and divide, the number specified may contain a decimal point. The results are rounded to the nearest integer. Decimal places implied by any associated picture clause are ignored. The fourth example will demonstrate how to sum across columns and down rows. For each record, the values in the Q1 through Q4 sales fields will be added and stored in the total sales field. Similarly, for each field, the values for all records will be added and stored in the last record. Also, it is important to note that the values in the first field increase with each succeeding record, and the value in the last record is all nines. To begin the parameter specification, we store the values from the Q1 through Q4 sales fields. For the total sales on a given row, we calculate and replace the value in the total sales field with the sum of the contents of the 4 storage areas. We then insert another selection level. At the next level, we accumulate the Q1 through Q4 sales values, then insert another selection level. At the third level, we fetch the accumulated values into the Q1 through Q4 sales fields, then calculate and replace the grand total. With the parameters now complete, we must specify the selection criteria to govern the processing. We enter the select command. For the first selection set, the corresponding parameters will be applied when the value in the first field is less than all nines. That is, for all records but the last. For the second selection set, the same criteria apply. For the third selection set, the parameters only apply for the last record on the file. When complete, the subsequent panel confirms that 3 criteria sets are in place. Viewing the results, we see that the fields have been totaled across all rows. Similarly, the fields have been accumulated and the sums are posted in the last record. The last example will illustrate concatenation of character strings. Viewing the input file, we see that the first name last name field is empty. Noting that the character storage area will hold up to 40 characters, we store the last name at position 11 of the area, then store the first name at the beginning of the area. We then fetch all of the stored characters into the first name last name field. Here we see the results. For more information, the File-AID Data Solutions Reference Manual may be downloaded from Frontline. This concludes this module. Thank you.